business community to help to assist other business people who may have some questions or may have something that they want to work through. Our mission here at 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. For me, it was a great way for me to, with an established business, to kind of share what my next thing was and how to get that out into the community. Our key pillars here, we have presentations, not pitches. We have authentic connections, not networking, and we're run for the community and by the community. You're gonna see, if this is your first time here, you're gonna see that once the presentation is over, our community is gonna go back in and ask questions so that we can get to know the speaker a little bit better and try to work through or suggest some things that they can implement. And our culture, this is a safe and supportive environment. 1 Million Cups is owned by everyone who shows up. So everyone here, we want to thank you for showing up and helping. We've got, it's inclusive for organizers, presenters, and attendees. And 1 Million Cups is all volunteer led. We rotate new organizers often and fuel your presenter pipeline together as a community. So if you would like to join our community, first, we would obviously love for you to follow us on social media, to get our news, to engage. This is all about engagement, not just a presentation for the business owner, but just also to, you know, provide that engagement. And this community, I can tell you from personal experience, it took me like no time for me to just jump in and get connected with everyone. Everybody is so welcoming. If you would like to apply to be a presenter, or if you know somebody that may be interested in applying to be a presenter, please go to 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. Also, you can join our community by following and engaging with us on social media. So as you can see on the left, we've got our different social media handles. And if you can just, you know, take a couple of minutes just to go through yours and add us to follow us. So I've already stated that this is a volunteer-led organization. So these are our organizers, and I am one of them. There are many of us, and this group is basically, we get together for about 30 minutes on Mondays just to kind of work through anything that we need to do. Not everybody can be on every single week. So we do have this great team for us to figure out who's going to help facilitate the presenters. And, you know, like I said, it's a great bond between us every week. Next slide, please. And then we also have brand ambassadors who assist us with getting the word out and talking about, you know, getting presenters and letting people in the community know a little bit more about 1 Million Cups. So if you would like to be a brand ambassador, we would love to have you, you know, share 1 Million Cups with others and hopefully bring and grow this community together. So we also have our sponsors. We have Office Evolution. So John Yu, are you on the call? Would you like to talk about Office Evolution?
Thanks. Thanks, Tess. Hi, I'm John Yu with Office Evolution. We provide co-working and private office and virtual office space. We're located right here in Tyson's Corner. We've been partnering with 1 Million Cups for about 3 years, and we love entrepreneurship. We love small business owners. We offer a number of virtual office or a flexible office solutions. If you need an office for an hour, a couple of days, or a month, what have you, we're here. So please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
So another one of our sponsors, every month we have a coffee sponsor. AGE, we've got someone here on the call.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rosemary Savino, the COO of the Association for Enterprise Growth, or AEG. We are an ecosystem of professional service providers for mid-market CEOs. We are building our ecosystem nationwide. Already have communities here in DC, in Baltimore, and we're opening up in Tampa next month. If you are a professional service provider to the mid-market, that's 2 million to 200 million in average annual revenues, and you want to learn more, just reach out. And I'm excited to be a coffee sponsor and an organizer in this community. If you would like to be either, just let one of us organizers know. Thanks.
Okay, so how our virtual meetings work, please keep your microphones on mute unless you are asking a question later on after the presentation. We'd like for you to use the hand wave icon so that we can facilitate the order of the questions. And then if you can unmute your microphone just when you're getting ready to speak, and then put your microphone back on once you are through speaking. We do ask that your questions or comments be rather short and concise so that the speaker has ample time to respond. So without further ado, we're going to introduce our speaker from the Cherry Hill platform, and that would be Josh Walton. So welcome, Josh.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Okay. So to begin this presentation, there should be an explanation as to why I'm here. We are currently in North Carolina, but we are looking to possibly work into the DC area as a full-time venture. Beginning in DC, I think, would be the best move. And to open the presentation with the question, how do we reach colleges and university students in the DC metro area? And I believe the DC metro is the most important aspect of starting Cherry Hill. And that is only because there are over 1,900 schools in the DC area. And for a comparison, there is 1,851 in New York City. And the most important numbers are going to be the 7 out of 10 students that are between 17 all the way down to 13. And they've named anxiety and depression as a major problem that affects their school life, and then it affects their home life as well. So when you're that age, school and home, those are basically your two lives at the moment. So 75% of high schoolers named school their sole focus is stress. And then moving into colleges and universities, 45% of college students have above average stress, 33% claim average, and almost 13% claim tremendous, and 69% claim severe homesickness. And the problem is that most colleges are unable to keep up with the demand of student health emergencies, whether they be mental or physical. And I can contest that every university that I've called, I've been on hold with the counseling department for an average of 8 to 10 minutes. And that's if they answered or if I got sent straight to voicemail. So they're overwhelmed. So, and just like hospitals, they are overwhelmed. Health is inaccessible or unaffordable in the majority of communities. Advice and strength in numbers could be a step in the right direction, as in building communities around each and every person that they can utilize instead of these alternative resources that might not work for them. So this project began in 2021, around January. That's when the plan started to come together. I found a third-party developer to help build this idea. And what we do is we build a custom support platform for people with mental and physical health challenges, from diabetes to depression to bipolar, anxiety, ALS, anything that they can think of that they have a condition for, they can use our platform for to connect to others. And the great thing is that it is the widest range that you can imagine. If you have the condition, chances are somebody might have it near you, and you can connect with at least one person. That's the goal. So target customers, DC area college students are the main goal as of right now because of the number of schools, as I mentioned before, And these are very highly sought after schools. There is tremendous pressure for students to succeed in these particular schools. And we want to target these high value schools because students want to perform as best as they can, so they need additional resources typically. And we want to roll out nationwide from middle school all the way to college, and then all ages, all conditions from middle school age all the way to 65, 70, 75 years old. Anybody that is currently in school or in some sort of care, they can use Cherry Hill platform. So Instagram is actually, the numbers aren't great right now. Facebook had a rebrand to Meta due to image problems for the most part, but there's just so much negativity, and Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, they all seem to be detrimental to health, and there's no accountability. There's too many bots that are spreading horrible misinformation. It's been very harmful for a lot of people, and I've dealt with it myself. These better health, better help, anything app-wise that charge $300, $400 a week or $1,000 a month to talk to somebody. Everybody seems to be dealing with a therapist or a counselor that doesn't actually want to help them. It might just be a paycheck. There's no sense of community because it seems to be just you in these groups. And the person that you're talking to, you might not get the same benefit. Traditional therapy, people, again, when it comes to pricing, if you want to go through insurance, it is often difficult. They don't feel connected to somebody who hasn't actually experienced what they've experienced, whether it be self-harm. You have a therapist that has never done that or never even thought about it. So there can't be too much of a benefit for a lot of people. And we want to bring the sense of community to them and bring people that have experienced the same thing to them. So what we provide is a direct line to those who know exactly what you're going through because they're going through it too. So again, going back to diabetics, people with crippling anxiety, they feel it too. They can relate to you. The conversation can be extremely real. So they probably know something that you don't know. They can share something that you haven't tried yet. And it could be a neighbor, coworker, or someone just a short drive across town. Anybody you want. It could be somebody you've seen at the bar after work. So a real community building experience is missing, especially in places like Facebook and Instagram. You might talk to somebody across the world, that's great, but somebody who is near you, you're more prone to relate to in most cases. And there's no ads that drives people crazy now. And there's more direct responses instead of combing through days or weeks or just hours of online help through, say, Quora or some other forum. You're getting the responses directly to you. So again, with the challenge question, I would love more than anything to reach the college and university students in DC. And I feel that DC is still a great start for something this ambitious and this large of a project. I think that DC would be a great place to take this project full time, and we can help as many people as possible. And again, if you might have noticed, Cherry Hill is about the community. It's all about the people that we're going to assist. It's not about myself. It's not just about the company or the company's future employees. It's about the people that we're going to be assisting and who we are going to be interacting with the most, because we want to do the most help that we can.
Josh, the pause suggests you've completed your presentation. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, everyone, a round of applause for Joshua Walton. Fabulous presentation.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I'm John Rutenberg, and I get to lead the next section as moderator of the Q&A session, where we get to throw rotten tomatoes at you, right? So a bit of advice. First, to the people who ask the questions, please keep your questions short. Ask one question only if possible, because many people want to ask questions. And Josh, for you, say thank you very much. Give a short answer so a lot of questions can get asked. Also, even though I'm sure you'll listen intently, it is being recorded, so don't worry necessarily about taking notes and thinking, gosh, I have to capture the ideas, because the group is sharp. You'll hear some good ideas. So procedurally, if you have a question or a suggestion, please raise your hand immediately. And I will call on you. I'm seeing hands going up, and I'm going to start with John Yu.
Thanks, John. Hey, Josh, great presentation. Is there a website where people can find more information about what you're doing? I think the link, when I click on it, it just asks you to log in or register.
Yes, thank you so much for the question. We are actually going to do a preview site. We're working on that right now, so that when we were doing our initial feedback from customers upon launch, because we just launched about a little less than 3 weeks ago. So people didn't like the idea of signing up, but we are working on something where they can preview stories, and then if they would like to, they can sign up. So that should be ready about Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Carolyn.
Hi, Joshua. Thank you for your presentation. As the mother of a college student with mental health issues, it really does touch me that you're actually doing this. And my question is, how do you intend, do they find you, or are you looking to go find them with your challenge question? Or is that the question, how to do that?
Yes. So, and first, thank you for being a concerned parent for your child's mental health. That's actually not as common as I would like. So that's why Cherry Hill is here. So that's great. But yes, I will absolutely go out to find them. I would just like, if anybody could help me with the introduction to these universities, to get into the schools and be able to interact with these students, even if it's just as a person, not as much as Cherry Hill, but I would like to let them know that I can come to them and find them and let them know that they have a mental health resource. But anything to do with, say, speaking engagements is something that I feel would be very beneficial. But yes, so we are seeking everybody that we can. Okay,
just a follow on, get back with me. I am a recruiter at a university, and I can get you some help on that, on the back end.
You are the best. Thank you so much. I definitely will.
Rosemarie.
Hey, Josh, it's good to see you this morning. I love what you're doing here. You did a great job with the presentation. So thanks for coming and trusting us with your challenge question. I know we talked briefly as we were preparing for today, but what I wanted to ask you was, currently you've got users, correct? And I would like to know how you got your users today, and that can help us to think through how you can get more users in DC.
It is great to finally meet you officially. And yes, we did have a very good talk, very, very good, and it's very beneficial. And so yes, we do currently have users. We have about 16 last, I checked yesterday. And that was just by word of mouth, asking friends to ask friends. And coming back to North Carolina, I spent a lot of time in Des Moines, Iowa. So didn't have a ton of contacts in North Carolina still. So just messaging friends on Instagram and texting old friends and just hit, hey, if you have anything, you can sign up. I have friends that are still in East Carolina University here in North Carolina. So working with them right now, trying to get additional users. So word of mouth has been very strong.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted again. So one thing I would suggest is it's back to school time, right? What you might want to do is just do a little bit of online research, see which schools are having new student orientation fairs and kind of in-person onboarding type work. And if you have connections in sororities or fraternities, to talk to them, excuse me, and see if you can actually use that kind of referral network to get the word out. Because you've got a lot of people who are concentrated through sort of the entry doors now that can help. And with a little bit of research, you can also find in the local DC area school systems like Fairfax County School System, Montgomery County School System. You might be able to connect with people who are trying to do from the inside of the system what you're trying to do from the outside of the system that can help to refer you to people that can connect you with the actual students.
Yes, that's great. And something I've started was, as we talked about before, I reached out to these schools. They didn't really, counseling department, I left a bunch of messages and haven't gotten connected back just yet. And then the other thing was, I would love some feedback on getting into like military bases or VA departments or something where mental health is extremely important to a lot of service members and veterans and everything. So that's an angle that I would like to approach. Also, I'm in talks with Camp Lejeune here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, about possibly working with base members about their mental health and physical health, especially when they come from overseas and have certain damages. And so we think that's a very good angle as well, if you all agree.
Awesome, Josh. Well, make sure you connect with Donnell Johns, our fearless leader, after this.
Yes, absolutely, I will.
Totally. Great questions and great answers. I'm going to jump in. And I wonder if you can build a relationship within a professional association that's focused in the mental health area, children's mental health. I don't know. Without doing a little bit of research, I'm not sure of the right names, but I know they exist at local levels, at state and national levels. And that may be the best entry into schools. And I'm sure that in the academic associations, the university management, the educational system at every level is dealing with mental health. And so that's got to be a primary topic in focus among educators at all levels, a constant pressure. And I think utilizing them as an ally might be a faster track. Your thoughts?
Yes, so I believe that the importance of getting into colleges, universities, and all the way down to high school and middle school is because even when I was in high school, mental health wasn't as big of a topic. There was still just a little bit of stigma around it. And my mental health was very bad. I lost my best friend to self-harm when I was in 10th grade. So, and that's still, that's a very, very young age. And so that shows the importance of, getting into these schools and getting the conversation started pretty much. So, and, the statistics that I threw out earlier, it's terrifying because these students, some of them could be the difference between the world changing or the world ending. And every time something happens to one of these students, that's an opportunity lost to improve. So it's heartbreaking, and people that are dealing with anxiety that's preventing them from taking steps forward to doing something great. So yes, early education is very important.
Yeah, sure. Tess Rollins. Thank you.
Josh, I loved your presentation, and I'm going to connect you with Dr. Amy Fortney Park. She used to be with, she's now with wisefamily.com. That is her practice, but that might be a place for you to start. She was working in Fairfax County Public Schools, working in the special education department. And she actually helped our son who has a learning disability, but she has a group of working with parents, and that might be a good place as they transition, either whether they're in the school system yet or they're transitioning out into the college. Our son now, our youngest son now, is college age, and he's advocating for himself now at the college to get whatever kind of support help that he has. But she may be a really good resource for you to maybe connect with parents as they learn to transition their kids, into college or a vocational type of training. So that might be a key way for you to get into where they're younger and then coming out, like you were saying, and then coming out of school into young adulthood. So I will get you connected with Amy.
Thank you so much. That is a huge opportunity, and that's great because we are looking for users that will mentor each other. So any kind of young adult or just adult older, I feel like they could be a very big resource. They've been there, done that. They're dealing with the same disorders typically and the same conditions. So anybody that can really coach, just the same way that this great team here is coaching me, that's the idea for Cherry Hill. We want these students to be already advantaged when they get to this age where they can start being more productive and start being a larger member of society and everything. So that's the goal.
Excellent. Deb Cohn, then Paul Riley, then Carolyn Mack.
Good morning. Hi, Josh. How are you? Nice presentation. Thank you. I'm on about my fourth career, and 3 careers ago, I was a college professor. I was a professor at George Mason University and a professor at George Washington University. So a little bit, and you've had some great suggestions. And from my perspective, you need sort of a multi-pronged approach. And I want to encourage you to not forget about faculty. So faculty are very important in the sense that they are the ones that connect directly. Am I frozen? I can't tell.
I think so at the moment, but we hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, great. Well, then I'm going to continue. In any case, as a professor, I would see things. I would see students who were in distress, or I might hear things, or I might get a sense of things. I couldn't necessarily, because it wasn't my job, go to a student and say, hey, do you need help? But as a professor, what I always did at the beginning of the term was I would tell them about different resources. Go to the Writing Center if you need help. Go here if you need help to study, etc. I could see adding this to my repertoire to say, do you need help? Here's a resource that you might want to use. Whether it is a QR code or a URL for a website. And I assume that when you build your website, you'll have resources, but I would encourage you to not only have resources for students, have resources for faculty too, so that they can connect in that way. I think faculty could be a hands-on way to connect you. And frankly, I'm also the mom of a college sophomore, so I understand the stresses that these kids are under. And they may not listen to me directly as a parent, even though they love you, you want to help them. They may not listen directly to a professor, but again, if you provide that resource, that might be something that would work.
Yes, that is incredible. That's a really very good suggestion. I love it. And it's similar to how I feel that Cherry Hill is somewhat the 1 million cups of mental and physical health. Mm-hmm. Because we're all here, we're connected, we're giving suggestions, tips, tricks, advice, motivation, everything. So that's very good. And, it could be a resource for faculty themselves, and then it could be a resource to connect faculty with their students more. So if the students see that, you know, their teacher is acknowledging their health and everything. So I think that's going to be very, very beneficial, especially in these larger universities.
So my contact info is in the chat. If you want to reach out to me later, I'm happy to chat with you and give you some further suggestions about, you know, I was in the business school and I was a professor for 15 years. I still have lots of contacts. So if I can help you, let me know.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. Great. Paul.
Thank you, John. Again, great job on the presentation. There's a local group here in Northern Virginia called the Eric Monday Foundation. It's targeting more high school students in different athletic settings. They do a lot with wrestling, but they try and do a lot just in general. A lot of high school students will then transition to college, as was brought up before. And a lot of people stay local. They're going to George Mason. They're going into Georgetown. You know, I know some of the people on that board. It might be a good connect. I'll put their website in the chat, and my information's in there also. So if you'd like a connection with their board, happy to connect you.
Yes, I definitely will. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone, for some questions. Hey, Josh, in listening and thinking about your challenge question of reaching colleges and universities in the Metro DC area, numbers of thoughts come to mind. So you need referral sources. Okay, who's likely to refer an individual to you? I don't know if it's the therapists and psychiatrists, psychologists who are working with kids. And if your goal is to penetrate Metro DC at the college level, as a strategy, what are your thoughts about starting somewhere in, I don't know the right younger age, but if 3 years from now you want to have college age kids being your users, then capturing and helping them solve and address their own issues before they ever get to college by concentrating perhaps initially on a school district. You know, not everybody from DC goes to school in DC, but a lot of people do. And while I don't know that you could tackle all school districts at once, and all of us need to think beyond today. Who the heck do we know that runs the DC school system or the Fairfax County school system? But by following up with all of us, by the way, someone can lead us somewhere. But I wonder, when I go back to your 3 circles of your markets where your primary market is college kids, my thought, and what are your thoughts about saying my primary thing is high school, or maybe even to junior high? I don't know how long you can do this, but once you have people using your system, because if you want to be nationwide someday, some of the kids from the DMV go elsewhere and they're still in your community. There's no reason they need to leave the community. They have those other friends they've made in your community have also aged, the good Lord willing. So I wonder if your focus might be grab a chunk of a high school market or junior high.
Yes, and so I agree. And as far as referrals go, I believe that the behavioral health and counseling and mental health departments in most of these universities, such as UNC, Chapel Hill, NC State, just other schools that I've contacted, when I realized, and this is during my hold time between the 8 to 10 minutes that I was on hold before anybody even answered, I just said that this could be something where students don't have to call you as much. They call you because they may immediately be in crisis. That 8 to 10 minutes, that's precious time. And that's leagues and miles ahead of probably what it should be, honestly. And that's that could be time where it's too late for a student. So I pitched it to them. If they did answer, or if I left a voicemail, I said, hey, this could be something where you don't have as many students calling. There's additional resources for them to not have to call you and be on hold. They can find other people near them. They can make new friends and build a physical and online support group. So I think that the most valuable time to catch these students would probably be in high school. But then again, in middle school, you're subject to cyberbullying. That's very common now.
Sure.
Common. So my most valuable time of my mental health was when I started to, was sophomore year when I lost my best friend and I started to really work on myself, and it took a long time. So yes, ideally we would like to reach out to these students before they get to college so that they don't fall back as soon as they get there, because it's the most stressful time.
I'm sure your services are needed at every age. I don't think you can try to be everything to everyone because you're not there yet. Before I call on the esteemed peoples whose hands are up, you gotta contact that individual at Chapel Hill or whatever school or whatever high school you go 12 times, buddy, before they're even talking to you. And it might take 36 before you even get the opportunity to meet with whomever the important person is. So with that, I'm going to call on John Forster, then John Norse, then John Rosemarie Savino, because you need a first name of John also.
Thank you, John. Appreciate
Mr.
it.
Forster.
Thank you. Joshua, I love what you're doing and really appreciate your presentation. Just one quick question. I'm curious, the name Cherry Hill Platform, how that came to be. Just out of curiosity. And then the other thing is, as far as connecting with DC colleges, somebody brought up the Eric Monday Foundation. There are a number of nonprofit organizations out there that have been successful in getting into colleges. And it may not be going directly to the college initially. And what I mean by that, there's another organization called Morgan's Message, which was started as a result of something that happened to you, where a family lost their daughter, and they started the organization, and now we're in 100 universities around the country. And so just a thought for you is to talk to some of these other organizations to help you get in maybe in a different way, because I hear your frustration in trying to reach out directly.
Sure.
So I'm just curious about how the name came to be.
Okay, so I was very frustrated when I started Cherry Hill. We didn't have the name for a little bit, and Cherry Hill came to be because I was working 3 jobs. I did the 80 to 90 hour weeks. I was at Hy-Vee grocery store in the Midwest, and I was at Dayton Freight and Panera. I was working all 3, and so I was really frustrated at my Hy-Vee job. There was a 50-pound box of, it was like 60, maybe 70 pounds of steaks. And I had to lift it over my head. I had to throw it onto the pallet that I was sending on the truck to go out to a new store. And the box came back, hit me right in the face. And I was like, holy cow, okay, this job it's not great. And then I looked at the box and I saw that it was like IBP or something. And it was a meat plant in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And I was like, I'm never going to forget this. I was so frustrated. I was so mad that I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to remember this. I'm going to use this to, as motivation to not have to come back to this job one day to make a very big impact and not get hit in the face by a box of steaks again.
Thank you.
Excellent. John Norse.
Hey, John, thank you so much. Hey, Josh, great job. I want to echo some of the things that John Rutenberg was saying, and that is that at the end of the day, while your mission is obviously very noble, you're still in a sales situation. And I think I've expanded a company very quickly. I think you got to find one local market or school district that you call me. I'm putting myself in the shoes of somebody. Hey, I have this idea. Great. Where's it working? Well, let me know when it works and call me back. lot of people don't want to be the guinea pig or the lab rat, the trial error. Some people don't want to be a part of that. So before, demographically, like John said, there's school systems, sadly, mental health affects all people of all ages, but your demographic, kids from young ages to, early adulthood. So I think your net that you're casting, you really should try to narrow in on something to find that works. You gotta have a model that works. Then you can take it and say, call John Rutenberg at the New Jersey school system. He'll tell you how great we are. But when you call someone and go, we have an idea and here's how it works, where's it working? And you're not really able to deliver on that. I just feel like, you're going to run into some pushback. You want to have a marketing plan that's going to work for you.
Yes, I agree 100%. Do you have maybe like a prime example of what you think might work best in this kind of situation?
Well, I don't know your business, unfortunately, as well as you do, but like you look at, take McDonald's, they test market food in certain restaurants in certain markets where they believe it will get them the market research or the market acceptance. And then they determine where to go, I don't know, with the McFlurry or whatever. They're a classic example of all the time, the McRib and all these innovations they have. I don't eat their food, but my point is, it's the same concept. Like with you got to find a market or something that works. Is it early adolescent? Is it, college? You got to find, you can't just cast the net and say, I'm in a business, we do Medicare. Everyone over 65 in a sense is an eligible client, but yet I don't market to all of those 60 million people. I'd fail. I have to find a niche within that 60 million that works for me. And I'm just suggesting that you find a niche that works for you and then build off of that successful niche.
Let me jump in and say that those last two sentences, find the niche that works for you and move forward from there, is really powerful. And John Norse nor John Rutenberg could tell you exactly what that niche is. We'll both brainstorm with you afterwards. But Rosemarie probably has the answer, at least another question, so I'm going to jump to her.
Well, the organizer, formerly known as Rosemarie Savino, now known as John, in keeping with the trend. So I put, related to this conversation that we're having right at this moment, I put an idea for you, Joshua, in the chat, which is to kind of leverage your current presence on Instagram to find, tag, locate, refer through students in the DC area already. And you could probably just search or ask your current connections to refer you to connections in the DC area. It's a large target, so I'm sure second or third connections will probably be here. And then use that connection, right, to get people to start using. To John's point, John Norse's point, to John Rutenberg's point, once you start to get a nucleus of users, you can start to then leverage that as the return on investment, whether the investment is time or money, and whether that return is happier students or shorter hold times or any number of the benefits that you're seeking to provide. When you then go to someone in a position of authority at a school, whether it's middle school, high school, college, university, whatever, and say, look, I found these people who needed help. I've helped them. And this is the benefit. And this is, with you and I working together, we can make the benefit 10x, 100x, whatever x. But really leveraging, referring to referring to referring. And this is part of your community building too, right? Hey, something great happened to me. I want you to try this. I know you're struggling, and then someone else can help someone else. And then you build those little centers of communities. Social media is a great place to find those people, and then you take them into your Cherry Hill platform to help them pass that. That's all I got for you now, Joshua. But reach out later, we'll talk more.
Yes, you put a pretty big idea in my head, so I was definitely going to say I would like to email you in a little bit.
Hey, Josh, just as a parallel, I'm a graduate, well, 3 different colleges, but University of Richmond is my undergrad. And one of my goals was to go back there and speak. And I called them because that's my graduation and they know me as an alumni, and I have a great chance of speaking there because of that connection. It just seems logical. I live next to George Mason. If I call George Mason, I go, who are you? Did you ever graduate here? What's your affiliation? It's an uphill battle. So my point to you is you should absolutely start with relationships that you have, like call your high school, call your college, and be like, I'm a graduate. I'd like to help. People are going to be, oh, you're a graduate. We have some glue there. You're going to have more traction and go, who are you? I don't know you. What's your platform? Send me information and I'll review it and get back to you. I mean, you got to try to find some relationship that you can leverage.
Yes, I called them. I'm a graduate of White Oak High School, and I called them last Tuesday. And I just put my name out there. They said they're going to refer me to the assistant principal, and they're going to get back to me probably when the school season starts or school semester starts.
But you see, the acceptance on that is there's a relationship that you can keep going back to.
Yes.
Where I call George, who are you? I'm in the community. I live 2 miles. Who are you? I own a business here in town. We use interns from your school. Who are you? I mean, they still don't know me. So relationships are the key.
John Foster and Deb Cohn, are your hands up with new questions or
Yes.
comments? Because we have to draw this to a
Yep.
close very
Sure.
shortly. So
Yep.
you'll be the last 2.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, John. One thing real quick, Joshua, is, and I don't know, I may have missed it, but I'm a huge proponent of LinkedIn, and John Norris talked about relationships. That's where you can, find those people that you do need to connect with. And so spending some time on LinkedIn is going to really help you leverage your time. So, and if I can be any help along that line, feel free. I'll reach out to you.
Yes, absolutely. I am on LinkedIn. I thought I had it when I pasted all my information. I might have to, if anybody wants to connect on LinkedIn, if they could put it in the chat, I would definitely connect with you sometime today. I work construction. That is not my full-time job. So just trying to put food on the table and insulin in my girlfriend's body. So it's not a full-time venture, but I will try to get back to as many people as I can today if you'd like to on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Deb Cohn, and then over to Donnell Johns, the one and only. Deb Cohn, you're on mute, sweetie.
Just an additional quick comment. So following up on sort of what Rosemary said and what several of the Johns said, clearly you're in a sales mode, right? But in order to sell, you also have to provide something. So my suggestion is that you provide some content to folks. Again, I'm going to talk about the professor perspective. If you have content on your website that talks to them about what are the signs to look for, what are the things that they should be doing that would be helpful to them in general, and let them think about you specifically, that would be helpful. Just as a quick example, long before you were even born, when I was a young assistant professor in the late 80s at George Mason University, I was giving a final exam. It was very early in my career, and somebody went to the bathroom. This was before I was jaded and didn't let them leave the room. And another student went to the bathroom and came back and said, Deb, or Professor Cohen, so-and-so is in the bathroom crying. She's really worried. She's going to fail your exam. She's going to fail the course. She's going to drop out of school, etc. And as a professor, I didn't quite know what to do with that information because, the exam was the exam, right? And so if I had more information about what are the things that college students are going through, that might be helpful to me so that I can then say, you know what, Deb, maybe you need such and such of an assistance, and the signs and symptoms to look for, which might be obvious to the students, but and maybe even to parents. But as a professor, you don't see somebody or interact with somebody as you would if you were a parent versus a parent and child. So content, and you might be able to find some existing content, but you also might commission content. by some of the people that work for you in terms of very short, pithy, one-page things that can be put out.
Yes, I agree 100%. And that's, it's incredible that you mentioned that because again, the parallels can be drawn so close to Cherry Hill is basically the equivalent of that one student finding that other student in the bathroom. It's just circumstance.
Sure.
And the best, because otherwise how would you have known that your student was severely affected unless another student approached them and talked to them and became aware of the situation and felt the need to bring it to you. So, and that's exactly what it is. We're meshing these students that have the same complicated issues they don't know how to go about. It's all going to be like a big learning lesson for everybody that participates in Cherry Hill, which hopefully is everybody.
Yeah, Josh, I'm going to end the moderation, the Q&A session by asking Donnell Johns to ask a very important question.
Josh, first of all, good luck on your endeavors. It reminds me of when I started Veterans Growing America and what we did. And I think I talked to maybe 300, it felt like 3,000 people. And people kept laughing at me, telling me, this is not a great idea. And then one person allowed me to conduct the event at their location and they believed in it. And so what I'll tell you is it may be one more conversation or 300 more conversations. Somebody's going to believe in what you're doing and open the door for you. So don't give up.
Thank you so much.
With that being said, the final question is what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
So as far as what you can do, it's more about what you've already done. For me, just by doing this, as you said, a lot of chances are granted out there. So this has been possibly life-changing. I'm in a very good direction, I feel like, after this. So last thing is just if we can all stay connected and if we can all go about these ventures together, all these excellent ideas in the chat, if we could all act on them as soon as we possibly can. And if we could all just keep learning with each other, I'll learn with every single one of you. And if we could spread the word as much as possible, I think we can do a lot of great things together.
Well, I'm glad that you said that. That means that you're going to show up here more often. Looking forward to seeing you. That's how relationships are built. And thank you again for being a part of 1 Million Cups.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been incredible. I appreciate it so much.
Okay, so with that said, next week we will have Accure will be presenting next week. So we'll be excited to hear more about that. And we invite everybody to return with us so that we can, again, as a community, help this particular company. Josh, we hope that you'll continue to join us as your time permits. So that you can get more connected with this community. So our presenter schedule, as I mentioned earlier today, we are always looking for presenters. So if you or know somebody who may be interested in presenting, we have plenty of open spots. We are starting to get that organized for September. So again, you can apply to present at 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. And here are our upcoming events. Is anybody here from the chamber this morning? Okay, I'm going to take that pause as a no. However, these are the upcoming dates through the end of the month, which is coming quickly next week. So we've got lots of things during the community. I do want to highlight there is the Women in Business over at the Tower Club in Tyson's Corner is doing a charitable happy hour this Thursday evening. It's a free event. And that all the charity donations and everything for that event will be going to Devotion for Children, which helps mothers primarily assist with their kids in daycare and making single moms, trying to help them with that. So if you are free and you are looking for a networking event, that would be a great one. And Donnell, would you like to talk about your pop-ups?
You're on mute, Donnell.
My voice probably sounds better that way, but if you guys have some space in your weekend, I implore you to make some space this weekend to stop at our pop-up shop in Woodbridge, Virginia. We actually are having a book signing by 4-star General Larry O. Spencer. He was the 37th Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, the second highest position in the Air Force. He's going to be doing a book signing. In addition to that, while you're waiting to get your book signed, you can do some shopping with our vendors. We have 12 vendors this weekend, so you'll be able to find some good stuff. So come out either Saturday and Sunday between 11 and 6 on Saturday and 11 to 5 on Sunday. And this Thursday, after you come from Tess's networking event, you can stop at mine. If you're military connected, we have a Veterans Connect this Thursday. It's going to be a good time. We're connecting our veterans and military connected community with business, education, and employment resources, and each other. So hopefully we'll see you. It is in the Stonebridge Shopping Center at our Veterans Growing America pop-up shop storefront.
Donnell, do you know what time the book signing will occur? My son has been out there because I'm going to be out of town. He's going to need something to do.
Yes, it's from 1 to 3 o'clock.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. This is a historic event. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to have a conversation with the general.
If a former Navy EOD diver comes on and gives General a little bit of jiving here and there, you may want to like pull him back a little bit.
As a 4-star general, I'm pretty sure he knows how to conduct himself.
I'm sure he does. Okay, so we hope that you'll take the moment to actually participate in some of our community events, and I know that a lot of these are very, very informative, and then some of them are just a lot of fun. So if you're interested in becoming an organizer and joining myself and my 7 colleagues that help us, we would love to have you. So basically like I said earlier, we have an organizers meeting for half an hour, and we stated that time frame on Monday mornings, to add your marketing, coaching, speaking, and facilitator skills. It's a small commitment with a large ROI, we get to meet the great presenters as we're working with them and helping them with the slides and helping them to get their challenge questions ready. And, it's a highlight every week. So when we get together, because sometimes we do even just, connect, not just in helping the presenter, but, maybe just forming a connection for that week or something that, we have in a timely manner. So we encourage the organizer teams to develop new leaders, and we're always asking people to come join in. The more of us there are, the less pressure it is on a few of us to try to put this together every week. So please join our team. We'd like to thank everybody here, because as you know, entrepreneurship can be a lonely journey, and we acknowledge that there are barriers that you may face in starting growing your business. Our community is fueled by passionate entrepreneurs who are looking to support and learn from people like you. As you can see from our questions that we had today and our comments, everybody is willing to share, and that's what I love about this community, because we keep building together. We are a part of the Kaufman Foundation that works with communities in entrepreneurship and education to increase the opportunities and allow people to learn, to take risks, and to own their success. So take risks, own success, and be uncommon. And with that, that is the end of our presentation today. And we thank again everybody for joining us, and we look forward to everybody coming back next week. Thanks again, Josh.
Great job, Josh.
Thank you so much, everybody. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your week.
Have a good day, guys.